Before we get right into this, I just want to thank everybody for listening to the first episode of Taran's World. This is going to be a weekly thing I'm going to try to do from now on until who knows how long, so I'm going to talk about things in movies, TV, comic books, anything in geek culture I want to talk about, and there's going to be some action figure talk. That's stuff I'm really interested in. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Going to be talking about the Dark Universe, Universal's big thing where they're going to get all their creatures into this world and do something great. Is it still going to happen with the poor reception of The Mummy? We're going to be talking about the Black Panther trailer, which is really exciting, really interesting trailer, and Batman proposing to Catwoman. What? That's so weird. Really interesting concept. I'm excited to see where that goes. So then again, let's get started with the first episode of Taran's World. So welcome to the first episode of Taran's World. This is going to be like Wayne's World, except not at all. And I don't know why I decided to go with Wayne's World, Taran's World, that kind of thing. It just kind of made sense to me. I like the way it sounded. Taran's World is different than just saying podcast in there, having my last name, because there's a lot of stuff like that. Taran's World is going to be about my life, my interest in TV and television. That's the same thing. I don't know why I said both of them. TV, television, movies, comic books, action figures, and we're going to delve into a lot of this stuff that's important in that world, talk about some stuff going on, some stuff that's happening from the past, the present, some speculation in the future, just get right into the world of geek culture, talk about these things that I'm interested in talking about, and maybe you're interested in talking about too. And I would love to hear your ideas for stuff going forward, so thank you everyone for being involved in the process and just listening, and hopefully this can turn into something great and big. So let's start off with this issue that, it's a movie that came out. I didn't do a review on it, but I'll quickly talk about it in this before we get into, the future of the Dark Universe, but The Mummy came out. The Mummy, the movie of Tom Cruise, Sofia Boutella, this Alex Kurtzman new movie, trying to launch this franchise for Universal, trying to make this big blockbuster universe with their classic horror icons. And of course, The Mummy is the one they want to start it off with. It didn't do good at the box office. Did not do very good at the box office. It didn't bomb. It didn't do great. Overseas, I think it did better. I didn't look at the numbers, but is this Dark Universe in trouble? That's what we're going to talk about today. And so quickly, The Mummy. I saw this movie the other day, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I probably like this movie more than most people will. It was terrible, yes. Writing was bad. Story was bad. The elements, the action was bad. But if this is the tone they want to go forward with for their Dark Universe, then we want to see all these things adapted for their Dark Universe, I am on board with that. And I think that comes a lot with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is an actor. I have said things about him before. I think he is good and a really good movie star. He knows how to be a movie star. He knows how to be an action star. But he's not the best actor. Let's just be real. He's been good. I think, lately he's really been coming back into his own as this good actor doing these things. Rogue Nation, I think, was where he really shined last because that movie was incredible. But in this movie, he plays a version of himself that I think we don't see a lot on screen, and that's the idiot guy who's not really smart. He's kind of an idiot. And that's the kind of Tom Cruise I want to see. And if we're going to see more of Tom Cruise in this universe, and they're going to build him up to be this bigger guy doing all these different things in their Dark Universe, then yes, I want to see him be kind of like this slow, stupid guy who doesn't really know what he's doing half the time, who isn't really sure of himself and is just kind of an ass. That's the Tom Cruise I want to see because that's the Tom Cruise I think is a real person. So that aspect of the movie I really liked. I really did like Tom Cruise in The Mummy. There's a lot of stuff going on with the mythos of the mummy and what she can do and all that power. It was dumb, a lot of dumb stuff in there, but Sofia Boutella, she did incredible. She looked gorgeous in every scene. I would definitely let her kill me to resurrect the world or whatever she's doing. I don't remember, but it was really weird at times, but I liked her. There wasn't any bad actors in this movie. There's just bad dialogue. And that was a big problem, was the dialogue, the action. The CGI didn't look terrible, the costumes didn't look terrible, but overall, if you're going into this movie expecting something big and bold and awesome, you're just going to feel pumped. You're not going to get that. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching this movie. I liked what I saw. It excited me because the tone, not what I was expecting. I went into this movie like, oh, it's going to be dark. It's going to be a horror movie. They're going to build a dark universe. Dark being the key word. Because I knew everything going into it. We got Javier Bardem's going to be Frankenstein's monster. Is Angelina Jolie going to be the bride of Frankenstein? We don't know. That might happen. Johnny Depp is the Invisible Man. That's coming up. Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Hyde. That's interesting. They already got this stuff going on in their world. So you want to build up a dark universe. Dark is in your title of the universe. This movie wasn't dark. I'm just going to say it. This movie wasn't dark. And that is a big problem you have. Because you have a character like the Mummy, who is known for being this horror icon, this scary figure. And you make her in this big, giant action piece that's just going to be this huge villain. And I get that. I completely understand that, and I'm okay with that tone. I just think you need to go more dark, and that's probably where this movie faltered. Again, is people want, like, it's going to be a horror movie. The Mummy's a horror movie. The Brendan Fraser thing, it was more scary than this, and they had, like, a CGI rock in there as a scorpion. But it was just felt not scary at all at times, and that was a big falter for this movie. But so going forward in this universe, the dark universe, the next movie is Bride of Frankenstein. They already have slated the Invisible Man. Wait, no, they don't have it slated, but they've already confirmed. Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, maybe Frankenstein's monster. I don't know if they did that one, if they said that's going to happen. Wolfman, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Phantom of the Opera. That is a lot of movies to announce right away. And I know what they're thinking. Like, Marvel did it, and look what happened to them. Yes, but Marvel had an already existing property built. They started with Iron Man, and they built off that. They didn't reveal their whole slate until after Avengers came out, and we saw Iron Man 3, we saw all these other movies coming out. And they revealed them in phases. They didn't show everything going on. And this is kind of what I'm afraid of, is because the poor reception to The Mummy is, are they going to cancel this? And I really hope they don't, because they did set up a beautiful universe here that I do want to see. So, some spoilers for The Mummy. If you haven't seen it, you're not going to miss much. Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's the kind of leader and the big Nick Fury guy of this organization called, like, I forget what the fucking organization is called, but he's the head of this big organization that goes around hunting monsters and finding these old ancient things. He calls them gods and monsters, which I really liked. They are teasing so much stuff in this. In his, like, weird study thing, we see this hand that looks like the creatures from the Black Lagoon's hand. I thought that was incredible. You see fangs on a skull, so he's got a vampire. I didn't see much for, like, anybody else. I think I did see a skull that kind of looked broken, like it could be a Frankenstein skull. I don't know. But if they didn't tease, that's fine. But he is Dr. Jekyll, and he is Mr. Hyde. And we do see him as Mr. Hyde in this. He does have this thing where he has to inject himself with this serum or this whatever to keep him from turning into Mr. Hyde, which I really liked. And when he did turn into Mr. Hyde, they didn't go crazy, which I really liked. He kind of just turned glowy, went crazy, talked a little fucked up. You know, it's like kind of dumb, like a wrestler maybe, but it worked, and I bought every second of that. And so we know that Russell Crowe is going to be in these more movies. He's going to be their Nick Fury, I'm pretty sure. And I don't want to see a Dr. Jekyll solo movie because I want him to be this guy that crosses in between all of that and brings in all this different stuff. But here's where I have a problem with everything we saw and everything going forward is, where are you going to get this good versus evil? In this movie, the Mummy was portrayed as the bad character, which is fine. I get that. Sophia Boutella, she's going to be the villain of this movie as the Mummy. Nick Morton, who the fuck cares? Tom Cruise is going to be our hero. That's what we get. But if you're going to assemble all these characters, are they going to be the bad guys going against the good guys? Or what is going to happen here? Are we going to root for the monsters and the creatures and all these characters, or are they going to be the villains of their own story? It's called The Mummy. The Mummy is the bad guy. I get that. You're going to make the Mummy the bad character. I am super okay with that. So I'm going to quickly just go, if we're going to do this, and they are, I'm pretty sure they're going to continue down this line because they need to make it work. I myself am a huge fan of all these characters. The 30s movies, I loved those movies. The Invisible Man is my favorite Universal monster. I just fell in love with that character. And when they cast Johnny Depp, I was super on board with that because I can see that happening. I see Johnny Depp being that character. I love all their creatures so much. Invisible Man's my favorite. I love Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, Dracula. I just love them all. They're just so interesting and unique designs. And bringing them all together, I can see work. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly talk about where I think all these characters could fit into the slot of where they're going to have them introduced, how they can tie back to the Mummy, and how they can bring them back into this world and do something great. And if they're going to be good, if they're going to be bad. Here's what I think. Now, we didn't get any confirmation. This is speculation on my part. Here's some theorizing, little thing I thought. So I'm going to operate under this assumption that this might be right, and if it's not, then I will completely retract from that. We don't know who Tom Cruise is. We know he's going to come back. His character's like Nick Morton or Nick Horton or some shit like that. I thought throughout the whole movie, we're going to get a tease like, oh, he's going to be related to Van Helsing. He's going to be something like Van Helsing. He's going to be a guy that goes around hunting the monsters, working for Dr. Jekyll. We didn't get that. Then I thought at the end of the movie, and this is completely stupid because I was like, this is dumb. There's no way they do this. When he's riding off of his friend, I can't remember his friend, he's like the guy that's not TJ Miller, but trying really hard to be TJ Miller. When they're riding off with that guy, I was like, oh, is this going to be like Renfield and Dracula? Is Tom Cruise going to be Dracula? It's going to be his Renfield. Is that what they're going to do with this? He's covering his whole skin in the sunlight. Is that what they're going to do? He resurrected his friend from the dead. Is that the angle they're going to go? Is Tom Cruise going to be our Dracula, who's going to be our big hero? I don't think that's where they're going to go, and I really hope it's not where they go because it's stupid. It's a bad idea. I don't know why I thought that at the end of the movie. If you thought that too, or you weren't even thinking about this shit, you're just like, what the hell does Dark Universe mean? I'd never seen that logo before. Could that be something interesting? Who knows? I don't know what you thought. Is he Dracula? I don't think he's Dracula. If they went that way, cool, whatever. Make it work for me. Put him in a weird cape. That would be really interesting to see Tom Cruise. He was Lestat in Interview with a Vampire, so maybe he would go back to being Dracula. That'd be interesting. I do think he might be the Van Helsing, and we're just not going to call him Van Helsing. I can see that going the route they're going, because they're going to get a new character introduced. Maybe he's related to Van Helsing from the past who hunted these monsters in Transylvania back in the old times, so that'd be interesting. So the Mummy, Sofia Boutella, she's locked up. She's shriveled up into a petrified corpse now. I do think she's going to come back as a villain. Or she's going to be a tragic hero. Now, that could go both ways. Maybe every villain's a hero of their own story, yada, yada, yada. You heard that before. But is she going to be a good guy? I don't know. I do see her coming back as being this bad guy, the foil to Tom Cruise. So we're looking at our slate right now. Tom Cruise, whoever he is, he's a hero. Sofia Boutella's Mummy, bad guy. That's where we're going to go. Frankenstein's Monster and The Bride of Frankenstein. That's their next movie confirmed for 2019. Where could that one go? This movie, they already said, is going to be about the bride's independence and trying to figure out, who she is and all that. Which I like that idea. We've seen strong themes like that before, and I'm excited to see where that goes. You're not going to make the bride a villain. Anything, you're going to make Dr. Frankenstein a villain who's going to be maybe working on something against Dr. Jekyll. And I'm not talking about Javier Bardem as the monster. Dr. Frankenstein, if he's still alive, if they make him alive, he'll be opposed to Dr. Jekyll, doing this kind of like evil corporation thing against Dr. Jekyll's Prometheus, who gives a shit? The Prometheum? I think that's what the organization Jekyll works for is called. So Dr. Frankenstein will be opposed to that. And I can see Dr. Jekyll maybe working with the bride. I don't think they're going to call her the bride. I don't know what they're going to call her. I can see them giving her another name and doing something else with her character. The Bride of Frankenstein, she is definitely going to be a hero. Frankenstein's monster, on the other hand, Javier Bardem, this I can see going, again, either way. Because he made this woman to fall in love with, and she doesn't love him, she rejects him. He's a tragic character. I think more than anybody else in this universe, you have to make Frankenstein's monster a tragic character who the audience wants to fall in love with, and they want to feel empathy for. And yes, the bride is somebody you can do that with too. You can feel for her, her independence and wanting to be free of this man who made her and to fall in love with her, but she doesn't love him. And that's a great story to play too. But I also want to feel the same empathy for the monster. Because that is how you do it. That's how you make it work so well and balance back and forth between the two. So Javier Bardem, he can either be portrayed as this villainous guy who wants to get his love back, which is something I would be okay with seeing. That would be an interesting angle to play. Or he can be kind of like Hulk. But I think Dr. Jekyll's going to be more like Hulk. But I can see them doing the Frankenstein monster as this really dumb character, which I really hope they don't do, because Javier Bardem is a really great actor. No Country for Old Men just proves how good he can be. I have not seen the new Pirates movie. I don't know how Salazar was, but he's a great actor. He can do so much just with his voice and of his monotone and just being there. And I can really see them going above and beyond and doing something great with him, doing something bad with him. And I hope they do something great. I really think he could be a hero too. And being a bad guy, I can see that. But if you want to feel tragedy for this character, you have to make him a hero. So the Frankenstein family, I can see them both being heroes. And I can also see Frankenstein's monster being a bad guy. Would he side with the mummy? That is a big question. How are these people all going to come together? Are they going to be separate stories with just intertwining themes? Or are we going to have like a big Monster Squad movie come up from the ashes at the very end when we introduce everyone and they fight? It's all so ridiculous, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited to see. And so, yeah. So here's where we're going to go. Where are we going to go next? I think the next one would be Invisible Man. Because you got Johnny Depp. He's going to do something weird. And this is a good one. This is a good movie. This could be your weirdest, most bizarre movie yet. And I think Edgar Wright would be a great choice for this movie. And I don't know if they have anybody confirmed. I know Edgar Wright doesn't like working for studios, but he could be a really good choice for Invisible Man. You got Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. Where could he side on our team of good monsters and bad monsters? He's pretty much a normal human. He's his own doctor. He did this weird makeup thing. In League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, not a great movie, great graphic novel. The movie that got Sean Connery to stop acting, pretty much. You see the Invisible Man, and he's kind of like this snarky asshole who kind of thinks he's above everyone. He's really cool. He was really interesting in that whole concept of that book and that movie. I really liked him. Was the movie great? No. You can make him the snarky asshole, kind of the Jack Sparrow-y character. I'd be completely okay with that because that's how Johnny Depp acts. That's how he would do. But you have to make him invisible. Wrap him up in the toilet paper. Who gives a shit? Make him put that weird paste on. Do that. Do that stuff. But I don't want to see Johnny Depp's actual skin tone throughout the whole movie. Sure, at the beginning when he's turning into the Invisible Man. That's fine. That's just dandy. Maybe just make him wear sunglasses. That would work too. Like in David Spade thing in Hotel Transylvania. That's a weird pull for this, but that's what you do. Can he be bad? Can we make Johnny Depp the bad guy? I mean, Grindelwald doesn't really count because Fantastic Beasts, that movie was stupid. And he didn't do anything. And is he going to be in the sequel? I don't care. That's a conversation for another day. But the Invisible Man, are they going to make him bad or are they going to make him good? That is an interesting concept. I want to see him be a bad guy. Because if you have Tom Cruise oppose Johnny Depp and Javier Bardem, that is an intense movie with so much going on. So many different characters and things. I think that'd be really interesting to see. But I can see them making him a good guy. I can see him being somebody that we meet in maybe Bride of Frankenstein. Maybe Creature from the Black Lagoon. Maybe one of these other movies where we meet the guy Johnny Depp's playing. What was his name? Like Jack? I can't remember. But he's playing the character before he turns into the Invisible Man. Maybe he's working with Dr. Jekyll. Maybe he's working with Dr. Frankenstein. Maybe he's working with some other scientist. Maybe like Scarlett Johansson's potential role in Creature. And we see him slowly transform into working with these maybe light rays or certain things that have to do with invisibility. And he makes this formula that he tries to use and it turns him invisible. Maybe we can see that tease and then lead up into Invisible Man. Because you can make him a hero who's working with these good guys, and I would like to see that, or you can make him a bad guy. Being a good guy is a great angle, being a bad guy is a great angle. This is so hard to decide, and I know I'm not even being very decisive because I said they could go both ways, except for the bride. She has to be good. Because they're monsters. They're monsters, they're villains, they're evil, they're creatures of the night, they're bad people. And you want to make them heroes, you got to put the worst of the worst as the villains. So who else could be a villain besides the Mummy? That's where we'll go with this next conversation. We'll quickly go through some of these other guys. Phantom of the Opera, he's stupid. He's just like a guy in a theater. That's who you should make Michael Fassbender, some creepy guy living in a theater. There you go. He's a good guy. He's working in a theater that maybe Dr. Jekyll sees him. He's like, oh, this guy's creepy. Hunchback of Notre Dame, tragic hero, tragic character that everyone loves. He's got to be a good guy. That's what we're going to say about those two. They're good because they're just lame and don't do anything. Who's bad? The Wolfman needs to be bad. Don't make him Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson's just big and buff and intense. I don't want to see that for my creature. For my Wolfman. Get somebody who's younger, we need a young guy in here. Everyone we've cast, they're old. Besides Sophia Patella, they're all old. Let's make our young gun, our young character, our Spider-Man, if you will, the Wolfman. That, I think, is an interesting approach. Because you look at people like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Invisible Man. They're old souls, right? Tragic old souls. Dracula has to be old. If you make Dracula the young guy, that's stupid. Don't do that. And I wish they kind of stuck with Dracula Untold being their first movie into this world. Because Luke Evans is a great Dracula, great Vlad. And I really think he could have stuck. Because that movie feels like The Mummy in so many ways. And I definitely would have fit into their world they built. And Charles Dance could be a bad guy in there too. And there's so many other characters they can introduce in these things to be bad guys and make our heroes, our monsters, the gods and monsters, the good guys. But you have the Wolfman. Great character, really interesting. He's the only one you could make kind of this young talent that gets the teen people interested. Zac Efron, there. Stick with Baywatch. Get Zac Efron in there to be the Wolfman. I can see that going somewhere good. That would be interesting. Kit Harington, maybe that would be interesting to see. But he kind of looks like Dracula, so I don't know. But not Dwayne Johnson. We don't need another buff guy to be a buff guy. Okay, we already got Mr. Hyde. We already got Frankenstein's monster. We don't need another buff guy. Okay, we can have the agile, fast-running guy being the Wolfman, and you'd get somebody in there like a really skinny kid, like Grant Gustin. If he could act better, he'd be a great Wolfman. Plus, they do want to get some big name talent, so who could they get to play him? Logan Lerman, maybe? Is he a big name these days? I don't know. Ezra Miller? Not Matt Damon. Matt Damon's old. But you get somebody younger for the Wolfman. That's what I think. Wolfman's a character you make a hero because he's so fun. He's so cool. You make the dog jokes with him. That's what you do. Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is an interesting one too because you have to have the female scientist. And I think Scarlett Johansson has been in talks to play that role before. That'd be an interesting thing to see. Are they going to make Scarlett Johansson work with Dr. Jekyll like they did that weird blonde lady? Jenny? Was her name Jenny in Mummy? See, I watched this movie yesterday and I don't even remember what happened. I think her name was Jenny. Oh, this movie was so stupid. It was like a terrible episode of The Walking Dead, pretty much. But you can make Scarlett Johansson the hero against the creature, and the creature make him the tragic hero later. I want to see Creature be bad. I want to see him be this bad guy. That's what I want to see from the creature. I don't know if that's what we're going to get, but that's what I want to see. I think that'd be a really interesting concept, really unique premise, just to see the creature be bad and go against that. You can make him like Swamp Thing. That would be cool. I know Swamp Thing's not bad, but you make him like Swamp Thing, but I guess that might go against if they do Justice League Dark. That might come across a little steely, I guess. But you put him like Swamp Thing, where he wants to protect this swamp. He wants to be this big guy, this lagoon. And he wants to be this guy that's protecting the lagoon and be this, tragic hero again. That's the thing with these Universal monsters. They're all tragic heroes. They're all tragic characters, and they're so interesting and bizarre, and they're just so fun to see and just love. I love them. They're just so adorable. And that, I guess, is what The Mummy was too. The Mummy was adorable. So, before we get to the big guy, everyone likes the big guy. You know the big guy I'm talking about, the fanged guy. You know him. Let's recap. Sophia Boutella The Mummy is evil. Maybe Van Helsing, Tom Cruise is good. The Bride is good. Dr. Frankenstein, bad. Dr. Jekyll, good. Frankenstein's monster, good or bad. Invisible Man, good or bad. Creature from the Black Lagoon, bad. Wolfman, good. Hunchback of Notre Dame, good. Phantom of the Opera, good. The creepy lady that would be Scarlett Johansson, good. Was that everyone besides Dracula? I don't know. Tell me if it wasn't. But I think all I have for bad is Dr. Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that leads me to Dracula. Dracula. The big bad of this universe. The Thanos, if you will. The Thanos of this dark universe should be Dracula. I will tell you why. There was this little TV show that came out last year. Lasted 3 seasons, 27 episodes. To this day, my favorite television program ever to air on TV was this show on Showtime called Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful took place in the late 1800s, where we're getting the Industrial Revolution. All these characters are going through that kind of change in the world. And we live in this world where monsters exist. There's witches, there's creatures of the night, and there are our favorite literacy characters from the olden times. One of our main characters is Dr. Frankenstein, and his creature, John Clare, who as he's called in Season 2, or just the creature as he's called throughout. We have Dorian Gray, an immortal in there. The Bride of Frankenstein later shows up. Mina Harker and Van Helsing show up in Season 1. And then we have a bunch of new characters. Josh Hartnett, Tim Dalton. Eva Green crushes it in this show, man. I think she's just incredible. But we have the final season of the show. Season 3, it was 8 episodes. And we have, was it 9? I think it was 9. It was 9, I'm sorry. We have 9 episodes of this final season. We are introduced to 2 more literacy characters from olden time. Dr. Jekyll, who is not Mr. Hyde in this. He's just Dr. Jekyll. He's experimenting on these prisoners. Really fascinating character. I'm so glad they brought him in. He was really interesting to see. We also meet Dracula. And when Dracula is introduced in the first episode, he is kind of this suave, nice guy that everybody knows and loves and they respect him. And then at the end of the season, he's the big bad that all these people come together to fight, and he eventually ends up, spoiler alert, killing our main protagonist, Vanessa Ives. And that's how the season ends, with the defeated end of Dracula and Vanessa Ives dead. I will get more into Penny Dreadful in a later episode because that is definitely something I want to talk about. But that being said, Dracula is such a big name. He is the biggest name that you can possibly have for any of this because he is so recognizable. He's iconic. Maybe you throw Nosferatu in there too. Maybe Nosferatu does something. Who knows? That's possible. This is where I could see them going with the route of Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise starts as the guy that everyone likes, slowly becomes this vampire king, and starts to take over the underworld, do this weird monster and god stuff. That happens. That is a route I can see this going. Because the Mummy was powerful. I get it. That happens. Dracula needs to be more powerful. You can make Dracula your big bad, this big scary guy that we see in there doing his crazy big bad guy stuff, and make him the hero afterwards till we fight a bigger threat. You don't want to start off with Dracula being this good guy, this big hero. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's so cool. Why don't we just have him? You need to start people off hating this guy because you need to build up their respect for Dracula. He's a terrifying threat. Make him the big bad and big scary. The guy that brings everyone together in the Monster Squad reboot this will be called. Monster Squad reboot. That's what we're going to call it. It's the movie where they all come together. Javier Bardem, Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, Russell Crowe, Sofia Boutella. They're all going to come together and they're all going to fight Dracula. Is it going to be played by Michael Fassbender? I know there's people talking that might be it. I really hope it's not Michael Fassbender because I want to see somebody else in the role. I like Michael Fassbender. He doesn't need to be in every single franchise ever. Okay, he doesn't. We can get somebody else in there. And here's the thing with Dracula. Do you get a well-known actor to play Dracula? Or do you get an unknown actor? I know they're trying to stick with these well-known actors to build up their universe and get people like, yes, we're so good. We're the best. We're going to get everyone in the seats. They're going to love us. We're going to be so strong and cool because we got these name talents in there. I don't think you have to do that with Dracula. I think the name alone Dracula could sell you on this. And see, I also think this is why we should have Dracula Untold in there. Luke Evans is a relatively known actor. He's not super well known outside of certain things. I think you recognize him and be like, oh, that's not Orlando Bloom? Either way, he's a good actor. He's a strong talent. And his Dracula started off being liked, to being hated, to being alone and broken. He was a tragic hero by the end of Dracula Untold. Just make it part of the canon. And that is a title I never thought I'd use to describe monster movies. Make it part of the canon. Like, honestly, it's a good movie, and it actually makes sense for the story you're telling, because he's an immortal who's living a long time, and we see him finally being introduced into the modern times by the end of the movie. And I know you retconned it, you're not going to do it now, but you can still make Dracula Untold part of your universe, and it could still work. I know Luke Evans would probably do it. What else has he got going on? But it worked. That movie worked. You made him the hero, and then the tragic character who can turn into the big bad. And Luke Evans can pull it off. Look at Gaston, right? Because Gaston's the equivalent of a villain in Disney books. That's how you can do it. We already got him as a villain. He could definitely pull it off. So Dracula needs to be your big bad in the Monster Squad movie. That is what you have to do. And I know I could get more in depth on, like, well, what are each of the movies going to be like? What are they going to do? We pretty much know how Bride of Frankenstein's going to go. And Creature and Invisible Man. Hunchback of Notre Dame, that's a pretty obvious one too. Phantom of the Opera. How are you going to put Phantom of the Opera into this big universe? Like, how is that going to connect to anything? Are we going to have, like, the beginning of the movie? Tom Cruise walks into a theater and he sees this weird shadow above them and he's like, why does this play keep getting interrupted? What's happening? Is somebody doing something weird? And then we just hear this weird piano music from below them, like, and it's Michael Fassbender. Like, what is going to happen? How do you put the Phantom of the Opera in this big dark universe? Because I like Phantom of the Opera. Never seen the play in my life, seen some movies, interpretations of it throughout time and space. We all know the tragic story of the character. Is he going to fight people? Is there going to be, like, some weird bullies at the movie theater thing, at the play, who's just like, hey, you, and he's going to, like, be the defender of the play? I don't know. It's weird. Because you can make this universe work. You really can make this universe work in a good way. You got to know how to make these characters work and how to make them feel real and natural. And the tragedy behind them all. These are all tragic characters for different reasons. You want to make them go above and beyond in these giant action set pieces, that's good. Just do them better than The Mummy. Because I like The Mummy. I said that at the beginning of this. I liked The Mummy. It just... oh man, it just didn't have the best writing, and the characters just didn't feel real enough. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. Like, Russell Crowe was great. Tom Cruise was great. Jenny, I think her name was. She was great. The characters were great. There's so much in there. You just have to make it better. Get better talented directors. And you're doing that. The Beauty and the Beast director's doing Bride of Frankenstein. I'm okay with that. I think he did really good. The movie wasn't the best, but I think he did really good with the set he had and everything building towards that. I think that can be done really well. But you have to work harder at this. Don't expect, because you're building a universe with these big names, people are going to go see your movie. You have to sell them on this property first. Bad reviews aren't going to do it. You got to do better. You got to make people invested. And then you can come all together for your Monster Squad movie and have certain monsters and certain gods fighting certain monsters and certain gods. And that is how you sell this whole dark universe. I don't think you should start over. Keep your plan going. Get all these characters out. Don't wait a long time either. Get them out fast. 2019 seems like a long time from now to give your next movie. I really think you should fast track something into production. I know that sounds terrible. Fast tracking a movie into production. That sounds terrible. I know, okay? I know. But it will seriously help you sell seats to watch the next movie. Look at Transformers. Everyone hates them, but it's a connected world and people are going to go see the next one. You can do it right and you can do it with flair. So, fast track the movie to come out before Bride of Frankenstein, maybe Frankenstein's Monster with Javier Bardem. Build up your universe of great actors. You're doing that well. Give your characters different motives. Give them certain angles they can play to be good or bad, and have them decide when the time comes if they're going to side with Dracula or Dr. Jekyll. That's what I'm going to say, and that's how I am going to end this first part of our discussion in Taran's world on the Dark Universe. So, stay tuned. We are going to be right back at you with some more talk. And we are back at Taran's World, and what are we talking about now? We're going sticking to the realm of cinematic universes, universes is what it's actually called. I don't know why I tried to sound scientific there. Tific. I can't talk for some reason. Black Panther, the trailer just dropped the other day. Talk about something I wasn't expecting. It's so hard to explain, but every time I think of Black Panther, I forget this movie is happening. It's coming out, February of next year? That is really soon, and we haven't seen anything from this movie until this trailer dropped. And I gotta say, what a trailer this was. Is this the best trailer of the year? No, nothing can top that final trailer for War for the Planet of the Apes. But this trailer was incredible to watch. It got me excited, it got me pumped, and I was super invested in everything going on in it. And I think one of my biggest takeaways is, before we get into that, we had a teaser poster drop beforehand. The teaser poster was okay. I'll probably put it as the picture for the talk on Black Panther, but I liked it. It was kind of big and shiny and gold, and it reminded me a lot of Guardians too for some reason. But in the throne, you see T'Challa's head, Chadwick Boseman. Very interesting poster, very interesting concept. Didn't excite me a lot. And that is a big problem that I was feeling with this movie. And you know what? I feel like I might be feeling a bit of superhero fatigue at this point. I don't know. This movie, it's not even on my radar. I keep forgetting about it happening. I'm just like, oh, we got another one coming out. That's great. That's awesome. And I'm super pumped to see where it comes. I am. I'm super excited to see where it goes and where it comes, apparently. But I just keep forgetting all these movies are coming out. It's like, slow down. Let me experience it. We got 2 coming out in November. Thor and Justice League. It's like, what? Let me breathe. Let me breathe for a sec. And then 3 months later, here's Black Panther. 3 months later, here's Infinity War. It's like, slow down, okay? Take your time. Just let me breathe and enjoy what's happening in my life right now. Okay, that out of the way. This trailer was fucking awesome. Like I said, not the best trailer of the year. Great teaser trailer. And I'm so sick of this whole teaser trailer shit and the teaser poster for a trailer. It's like, just show me the fucking trailer. Like, who gives a car? Why did I say gives a car? Who gives a crap, okay? We're going to watch it anyways. We're going to be invested no matter what you put out. I loved this trailer. And what I really loved about this trailer was how much it reminded me of Ryan Coogler's style. Ryan Coogler is a great director. Fruitvale Station was just incredible, and Creed was just so visually interesting and unique to see. His style definitely showed up in the trailer for Black Panther, and I could see it in a lot of shots. In particular, the shot where T'Challa is in the trees. He's looking down at all the gunmen, and he's going to kill them all. That, I was like, yes, that is Ryan Coogler to a T. I really saw him in that shot, and I really just was super impressed by that. Seeing Wakanda too. I was like, oh man, this looks like Naboo. And is that a problem? Is that really a big problem? It looks like the prequels. The prequels, they looked good at times. The CGI, we haven't had it there yet. Wasn't there at the time of 99. Now it's there. This reminded me of a lot of Naboo. The characters and the costumes reminded me a lot of Naboo. That's not a problem. That's not a critique I'm having. I'm not talking shit about Coruscant or the prequels or Black Panther, anything like that. I liked it. I really did like it. But at times, I was really surprised with what I saw. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I thought it looked a lot like Thor Ragnarok and looked a lot like, Padme. Those aren't bad things, because those are, things in the Disney world, and they look unique and different and fresh. And I am kind of having this problem. Not a big problem, just something I've noticed. We had this really interesting look for Guardians of the Galaxy. Before that, Doctor Strange, visually a lot like Guardians in certain aspects. Thor is looking a lot like Guardians too, and that's because we're going to space again, and I understand that. But we're on Earth here, and you're telling me that throughout time and space, the existence of Wakanda and Earth, there hasn't been anybody who's seen Wakanda except for Andy Serkis. Nobody stumbled across Wakanda and lived to tell the tale except Andy Serkis. That place had flying cars. They had so much shit going on in there. It was like a big city, like it's on Coruscant, so much shit going on, and you're telling me not one person figured that out. It's not like those people stay in Wakanda. In Civil War, we see him go to the press conference, like meeting of the United Nations in America. You're telling me nobody followed them back to Wakanda? Like, that's weird. It just seemed weird to me that nobody heard of Wakanda. But Wakanda looked great. The whole sets and everything, it looked realistic and futuristic, but still kind of in this like very simplicity way where it didn't feel over the top at times, which is a lot like the Phantom Menace, and I'm not going to say that's a criticism. I'm going to say that's what it looked like. Characters looked incredible. T'Challa looking great and fierce as always. Everything we saw with Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, this guy, I'm calling it right now. You can say I'm right, you can call me crazy, you can call me all this weird shit, whatever you want to call me. He's going to be their best villain. Bar none. Because Ryan Coogler knows how to get a good reaction and a good dialogue delivery from Michael B. Jordan. And he looked so bizarre. His weird haircut like The Weeknd used to have, and that weird mask where he's got the antlers, that was so creepy and weird, and I'm so excited to see how Killmonger is introduced into the story. It looks like he's going to be a villain from the beginning because he was captured. I really hope that's not the case. Maybe we see him progress into being the villain, something slow build. You know, that would be really interesting to see. Not Carl Mordo slow, but kind of just like, yeah, he's an asshole, nobody really likes him, and then bam, he finally snaps and becomes the bad guy. That's a progression I could get behind seeing, something I would be invested into seeing. I really hope we do see something like that. Everything looked great. The costumes looked great. Didn't see as much Black Panther as I wanted to. Not a problem. This was about selling us on Wakanda, and about selling us on the two white characters in this movie, Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman. And this isn't a big critique I have, because it's a trailer, I'm not going to get carried away. This movie's called Black Panther, it's set in Africa, all our characters are important that way. You start the trailer with the two white guys, it's kind of weird. Now, it's not a big deal, I'm not trying to be a social justice worker or go into politics or racism or anything like that. Just an interesting choice I would not have chose. I would have given us one shot before, then we jump into it. But everything they were talking about, Martin Freeman didn't say a word. You know, Andy Serkis looks really crazy and looks like he is going to be an integral character in the plot. He's going to be definitely bizarre and creepy. Really creepy, man. He looks like he's losing his mind a little. And I do hope we see him slowly become Claw and the sound guy. That I think that'll be really interesting to see if we set him up for Black Panther 2. I would love to see that. And when T'Challa sees him in there and he starts laughing maniacally, like, oh, I can see you through this mirror. That was so weird, so fun, so interesting. Then we go into the music. Don't tell me what the song is. I don't know. Don't know what the song is. Don't know shit about music, really, but it worked. The music worked. The almost rap kind of style to it, it made sense for what they were going for, and it definitely made it feel more funky and original than anything we've actually really saw in the MCU before. I was completely on board with that whole angle of it. I think that really helped, made it different. Marvel has done a great job of putting music into their trailers. You know, Song of Thor, that was the Thor Ragnarok trailer, that song is just incredible. The Fox on the Run for Guardians 2, they're doing a great job when it comes to their songs. This one was no exception. We do see some shots of T'Challa again saying, you know, you're a good man, and it's hard for a good man to be king. If that is a theme we are going to explore throughout Black Panther, that is going to be really fascinating, because I understand that whole thing. T'Challa's dad was a good king. How is T'Challa going to live up to the expectations left behind from his father and all these people who see him as this young, irresponsible kid taking on the mantle of Black Panther? How is that going to play into everything going on in the future movies? And in this one, it's going to be such a great story. We did see a shot of Forrest Whitaker. Really weird looking Forrest Whitaker, by the way. And I liked it. I loved everything we saw of Forrest Whitaker in this. He looked really creepy, really weird. Did we see Lupita Nyong'o? I don't know if we saw her or not. And I just love saying so many of these names in this cast because There's so much talent in this movie. From Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Forrest Whitaker, I think John Boyega's in this movie too, and Angela Bassett. There's so much talent just flowing around in this movie. I'm super excited. This is something where I wish we had the rights to X-Men, because we could so easily tease Aurora Monroe in this and just show Storm and build her up as the next X-Men. I think that would be incredible, but I get it. Fox has it. Moving on. That doesn't matter to me. Do get a shot of Manape. Manape not looking like a giant monkey, which I respect. I respect they didn't go that angle. How do you make that look realistic? Then again, they made Groot look realistic, so who cares? They could have done anything, I believe it. But there's so much good in this trailer, and I just was like, yep, I'm on board with everything they're showing me. Looks a lot like the prequels, which is not a criticism. Not a criticism at all. Because you can say a lot about the way the prequels looked and a lot about the stories told, but it was beautiful. I liked everything we saw. I really did. This movie hasn't moved up on my most anticipated for 2018. I'm not going to say I'm super pumped to see it. I'm not going to jump out of my seat with joy and like, yes, this Black Panther movie is going to be great. Oh, that closing shot, by the way, where he's jumping over the car and he's flipping around and lands on the other one, looked great. CGI didn't look completely done yet. And I don't know. I'm skeptical about if that's the complete look or not, because I can see it. We're pretty far out, but we're still pretty close to the movie. So is that I don't know. I don't think that's the complete and finished product. But if it was, I wouldn't be surprised if that's all we got, if that's what we saw. I'm not going to freak out and get worried about it because I'm excited to see where it could go. That's really exciting. This movie is going to be good. And everything we saw just in this first teaser trailer proves that and gets me super excited to see what we have coming down the pipeline. Cannot wait to see more from Black Panther, and hopefully, this is a big important thing. If you are a collector of action figures, hopefully Hasbro puts out a Marvel Legends line of Black Panther figures, because I want to get some really obscure characters in here. Manape, build a figure, that'd be great. Get us Killmonger, get us Plant Man as a weird one, get us a different Claw. That Claw figure we got a while back sucks, and just get us some more Chadwick Boseman figs, man. That'd be great. Did the Hot Toys come with a head sculpt of Chadwick Boseman? I can't remember, but in this movie, that Hot Toys has to come with a Chadwick Boseman head, and let's put a cape on him. Can we put a cape on him? I think that'd be really cool. Something like that. That'd be really interesting. I really hope they put a cape on him at some point. Make him look like a King Panther. So, yeah, that's what I got on this Black Panther trailer, man. It was really exciting. It was really cool. Some parts of it got me a little iffy, but no, this movie should be good. It's going to be great, and I can't wait to see more from it. So we do got one more topic coming down the pipeline for this episode of Taran's World. So let's get to that one right now. Before we jump into the Batman talk, let me take a sip of my Coke and just get rehydrated, See how that goes. Yeah. Definitely needed that after talking about Black Panther. Super excited for that movie still. Might come across negative at some times, and that I don't know how it's going to go. Either way. So something cool happened in comic books the other day. This happened, I think, last week with Batman issue 24 of Rebirth. Look, I'm not caught up on Rebirth. I am not. I want to be. I'm super busy. Just where I live pretty much is all I have for an excuse. I live in this town where we don't have a comic book store, don't have a chapters, don't have any point to pick up the volumes, the graphic novel segments, any of that kind of stuff. I don't have that near me. I have to travel to the nearest city, which is a bit away. It's a couple hours, but so if I had it closer, I would buy Comics Weekly, but I can't. And hopefully when I move in the next couple of months, I can go pick them up weekly, and that'll make me really happy. But found out Batman issue 24 panel ends. Bruce Wayne proposes to Selina Kyle. Or does Batman propose to Catwoman? It depends how you look at it. I haven't read it. I didn't look it up. I want to talk about the implications of this, because this is exciting. I love this idea. This takes the Batman character and the Bruce Wayne character and completely makes them different. It just feels like such a non-Batman thing to do that it's got to be Bruce Wayne doing this, right? Does Bruce Wayne feel lonely and he needs to, start a family again? I really hope that's what they're going for. All of comic books Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, Batman, Catwoman. That is my favorite pairing when it comes to someone with Batman. Him and Talia, I can see them sticking around. That could work. I can see him and Talia hooking up a few times, shagging around in the do-do-do-do. But if I like Catwoman more. I'm such a big fan of Catwoman. She is probably my top 5 favorite DC comic book characters. And that's definitely going to be something I'll do later when I talk about my favorite DC comic characters. I really like Catwoman. I love the relationship she has with Batman. It's kind of like, it's a flirtationship. They're flirting all the time. He doesn't know how to flirt. He's really tough and aggressive. She's really like, not on the, she's like just like on the nose about it. She's just like, yeah, let's do it right now, big guy. And they do it sometimes. And I do feel that Bruce Wayne loves her. I really do feel like he cares about her in the way that he can. You know, he's not jumping over, hoops or shit just to get with her, but he cares about her. He doesn't want to see her go get hurt or anything like that. And when he proposes, this came to me as a shock because I never expected they'd tie down Batman. That's crazy, because Batman just seems like a solo player for life. But you think about it, he's got to be lonely, and I know they don't really delve into that parts of Batman where he's always just kind of brooding and emoting, but he's best when he's emotional and dealing with these things. And I think we're definitely going to learn more about it in the coming issues if she says yes or no. I really hope she says yes. I really hope she says yes, because if they make her say no, then it was just like, I get where that could go for Batman's story, where he's going to get more alone and feel left out. But, I really hope she says yes. I want to see that wedding. I want to see a whole comic issue just dedicated to that. Just seeing, like, Bruce Wayne's getting tied down, or are they going to have, like, a secret wedding where it's Batman getting tied down? That'd be so cool. So many interesting things can be done there, and I'm so excited to see where that whole thing could go with Batman and Catwoman being together. It would be so interesting to see. Because every time you picture Batman, he's alone, right? You never picture Batman married or anything. It just makes for an interesting story that I cannot wait to see and just delve into. And I know, yes, we're going to learn more about it. In the next issue, I think he's going to go into the backstory of a certain story arc that's going to take a couple issues and go back to that. But she has to say yes, because if she says no, it's a waste of time. It's just a missed opportunity. This is a really exciting thing for me. And it's not even like a big deal. This doesn't seem like a big event. Like, what are they doing? Like, what's their new thing? I can't remember what their new event is, but I'm super excited to see where this could go. This seems like such an interesting concept that could really delve deeper into the Batman mythos and the Catwoman mythos, because are these characters just like tragic characters that when they get together it's not going to work, or is it going to make them better people for it? Because both of these characters, they're dark, they're kind of dicks in they're dicks in their own ways. Let's be real. Batman's a dick in his own way. Catwoman's a dick in her own way. They're not the best people, but together I feel the chemistry and I completely believe it. It's better than him and Batgirl, that's for fucking sure. And you kind of get that sense in certain other mediums, like Injustice 2 was like, did they have like a smaller title? Injustice 2. You see that they kind of have a repertoire there. Again, I like it. Batman and Harley, that was also kind of a thing they teased in there, but I don't care. That should not have happened. That should never happen. Never happen. Batman and Catwoman works no matter what decade, what period you want to tell the story in. Get those two together, have them hook up, have them have a baby. Don't know what you could name that baby, or don't make them have a baby. Just make them have like weird, wild sex all the time, because that's what I expect from those two. Dark, brooding, emoting sex with Batman. That sounds like the best sex you'll ever have. And then when they get together, let's do a whole fucking issue where it's just them like planning this weird wedding, and then Alfred's just there like, "Sir, are you sure this is a good idea?" It's like, "Yes, Alfred." Or just something weird. I love this concept. I think it makes sense for the Batman character going forward, and for the Catwoman character going forward. I can see her saying no, that also tying into a story for Batman. I could see her saying yes, and that being some of the best stuff we've ever seen. And I cannot wait to see where this story goes. And I gotta pick up this issue. I gotta start getting into Batman again. Like, holy shit. Rebirth has been really good for somebody who isn't close to comic books, because it's gotten me back into a lot of stuff. I just picked up Aquaman, I picked up Wonder Woman and Green Arrow. Those are the ones I picked up before, but I'm picking up those again. I'm going to get into way more, probably Justice League, Superman again, and Batman. I want to get back into Batman because so many great stories to tell with Batman. Cannot wait to see where this goes and just how the story unfolds. And you can come back to this podcast when we find out what the hell happened with their marriage, because that is definitely a topic I'm going to be circling back to because it's awesome. So that is going to do it for the first episode of Taran's World, the Not Wayne World parody. That's what we got. I think this could be a fun series to continue doing, and I cannot wait to see where next week takes us. So let me know what you guys want me to talk about. If there's something in the geek culture you want to hear, just give me a shout on that thing. You know what? Facebook me, Taran Barker. I'll just Facebook me. I don't really tweet much anyway, so you can Facebook me. I'll probably leave a link in the description to my Facebook. Just send me a message on there, and we'll talk about some shit. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I'll catch you next week when we are talking about more of Taran's World. I definitely didn't sell that well. Oh well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Good luck.